Joining us live now from Lod, just outside Tel Aviv, is CTV National's Adrian Ghobrial. He's been on the ground in the country now for the past couple of days. Adrian, can you give our viewers a sense of where you are now and what's happening there?
Yeah, I'm here outside of the police's main intelligence building, just outside of Tel Aviv. As you mentioned, we're right near the airport, and this is what we're outside of what they're calling the war room. This is where people are coming to report their missing loved ones. Now, we're outside because they've asked us not to go live inside out of respect for families and friends who are arriving, but we were allowed inside. You can see we've got some visuals we can show you. It's just a hub of activity. There's volunteers, there's police, there's forensic investigators, there's members of the military, all here in a coordinated effort trying to help people who are arriving to report their loved ones. And what people are doing is they're bringing DNA samples of their loved ones to try and help investigators piece together whether or not their family member or their close friend is in fact among one of the dead who is yet to be identified, or if they are in fact captured and officially missing and potentially in Gaza. People are bringing old cigarette butts from their loved ones, toothbrushes, combs, articles of clothing, anything that might have that individual's DNA on it in here to the center. It's a very tedious process. I was speaking with the superintendent about how difficult this is, and he simply just broke down in tears, and we had to stop the interview. Nothing has prepared people for what they're doing. As you can see, there's some signs behind me in Hebrew, which I've since learned. You know, this one here says, "Israel is with you, hugging you, and behind you," a message that many are hopefully feeling and receiving as they arrive today.
Adrian, it's so hard to comprehend the situation these families are facing. Like you said, bringing in cigarette butts and hairbrushes, et cetera, trying to identify, trying to sort of answer the question, is my loved one still alive? Have they been captured? That sort of thing. What have you been seeing as the people have been arriving throughout the morning here? I mean, how do they sort of, I guess, really find that strength to be there and to sort of, try to deal with this such a dark potential fate for their loved ones?
People are understandably exhausted. They have received very little information from government officials, because simply there aren't a lot of answers. People are, unfortunately, some of the people who are unaccounted for, that list has been going down slightly, but that's because they've been identifying the dead, and they've confirmed that they actually haven't been captured, but that they were in fact killed. Yesterday, as we were speaking as well, I interviewed the son of Vivian Silver. She's the Canadian from Winnipeg who is still missing. She was taken from her home. I saw her son, Jonathan, here this morning. He arrived bringing DNA to file an official report on behalf of his mother. I asked him how he's doing, if he had heard anything. He said, "I've heard absolutely nothing." He described the process inside as lengthy but necessary.
Yeah, it's just such a difficult time here as well. And of course, Vivian Silver, everyone hoping that she is okay, to find out her fate. But we also know, of course, Ben Mizrahi, a Canadian who died in the attacks over the weekend. What more do we know about his funeral arrangements?
We actually have confirmed that his funeral is taking place today at 4 p.m. local time here in Israel, about 40 minutes south of us. So to give people perspective, that's about halfway to Gaza. We know that there really is no area that is zero risk. There's several rockets sent into the area, generally where that funeral is going to take place today. But they're also limiting the number of people. There's only about 50 people are allowed to gather together at one time. So that's the cap, the limit for that funeral. But a difficult time for his family. And we've also been speaking, and it's important to mention that we have sources and people who are inside Gaza who are trapped, as we've seen the images, the airstrikes continuing. We know yesterday's airstrikes were called the most intense in the 75 years of this conflict, as entire neighborhoods have been destroyed and flattened. And those that we've spoken with on the inside, not surprisingly, are saying that it is an apocalyptic scene in there, with very limited medical supplies, no electricity, and very, very limited food.
It is devastating indeed. CTV National News' Adrian Ghobrial. Adrian, appreciate your reporting as always. Thanks for the time this morning.
Thanks, Nick.